Hey YouTube, how you guys doing today? Kevin here, coming back at you with another video. So I got the top end cleaned up. I've been using my Milwaukee cordless 1/2-inch drive M12 drill with a wire wheel brass, and I've got that all cleaned up. You see how nice the cylinder looks? Doesn't look too bad. It is varnished a little bit, but I mean, very small piston. Valves are moving nice and freely. So everything is good there. Now we're going to put the top end on it and see if we have compression. I'll get you guys in the stand and we'll get cracking. So I cleaned up the cylinder head a bit with a this is a caliper brush right here. It's a Muller, and this is for cleaning up brake calipers, the slides. Cleaned up the cylinder head a bit, got all as much crud as I could out of it. There's still a little piece in the corner here. This took a while to do. I figured to do this off camera because you guys don't really need to see the scratching all the crud off. But still got a lot in there to clean out. And wipe out. So for the most part, it's all done. You can see how bad the coil wire is right here. It's broken here, comes through. So that'll be the next step after we get this all done, would be to get the ignition working. So let's get this. I'm going to reuse the old head gasket that came off of it. Get that set up on there, like so. If that's how, yeah, that's how that goes. Flipped around this way. I don't think it matters. Nope, it went this way. You can see the dirt grooves on it. I also took this off and cleaned out the coolant fins while it was off camera as well. So we're going to set this on top here like so. Then this slides down over the top. Actually, no, it doesn't. It goes on like that first, then this goes in on it like that. There we go. That's how it went. The ground strap for the coil. Then the rest of the bolts just fall into place. Like so. I'm going to use my Milwaukee M12 impact gun with the socket on it. Get these all zipped on. Okay, now we get that all on there. And now, I'm going to shrink you guys down a little bit. Or move you back a little bit. Okay, so now we have the intake open, the exhaust open, it's all cleaned out in there. We have the spark plug hole exposed, and I still don't think we have enough compression. Could be the rings. I'm guessing it is, but we're going to see if we have any compression at all. Alright, so I got my compression gauge hooked up, and we are going to see if there's got anything on this at all. So I got a rope. I'm thinking that the valves might need to be lapped. The piston rings might be stuck. We might have to go the old dump a little bit of oil in there and see if we can free them up. However, we'll try it this way first, okay? Alright, so I got this. I'll show you. I'll move you back a little bit more. I got it. See the pull rope wrapped around? Okay. Whew. We're going to do that 3 times and see if the compression comes up at all. Now remember, this thing had no compression. The engine was seized. Had stuck valves. That was the 2nd time right there. And then we'll go 3rd time. This thing's an antique. I'm thinking it's from the 50s, maybe. Okay. Alright, now we're going to take the compression gauge. See what we got. What about, what is that? 25 pounds of compression. Pretty low. But it has compression. Now, I'm not really worried about that, because I know that compression will build. So if we put a little bit of oil in that, it will build. So I'm not too worried about that. Okay, now we have to move on to the next step. This machine has been sitting for an extremely long time. So bad that the piston was seized, the valves were stuck open. We're going to put a new Briggs plug in it, just to seal off the top. And then we got to drain new oil out of this and get some new oil in there. Okay. So the plug on the end is kind of stripped out, but I was able to use a pair of channel lock pliers, loosen it up, and got to free up. Very important we get the oil out of this thing. This engine's been through an awful lot. Okay, so I got the oil out, which wasn't much in it. We're going to use some Toro 4-cycle heavyweight 30 heavy-duty 30 weight oil in the motor. So we'll fill that up inside there. Boom, boom, boom. I know a lot of you guys go, oh, 25 pounds of compression. This engine really is not a big compression engine. It's one of those things, it's a very low compression engine, which is why it's only 2 horsepower. You saw how big the compression chamber is. The combustion chamber is big, it has a very small valves, it can't really intake a lot of air, oxygen, and fuel. So it's really 25 on this one is not that bad. It sounds actually worse than it actually is. They don't take a whole lot of oil either. This is what do you call it there, 20 ounces, and it's probably going to use half of that if I'm lucky. You can see how it's pretty much full. Alright, so it took almost the whole 20 ounces. It took about, well, it's only about that much left, so it's only a few ounces left in there. It took about 16 ounces of oil. Okay. And now, we're going to see if we can address the ignition system. Or at least attempt to, because see the bolts, how they look? Something's going to break at some point, you know. Now this is a fat coil with, it should be held on with four bolts. We're going to convert this over to the newer style 2 bolts. This ignition right here is a newer one off of a 3.5 horsepower Briggs, and you can see right here it's got the CDI built into it, and then you get your kill switch wire there. So we're going to see if we can get this to work on this particular machine. If we can get spark on this thing, we're pretty close. it looks like there's just a couple bolts there. I'm telling you guys, this thing is just coming apart. That bolt did not look like it was going to come off, and it did. Hopefully this one comes off the same way. Yep. First time removing this. So you can see what's in there. Get you guys set up there. Hold on. Look at that, guys. You think it was a home? Okay. Wow. Then right there. Right. Oh boy. What do you think? You think we can get those bolts out? My God. This is horrendous. Okay. We're not using this coil. That's soldered on, by the way. That's how they did it back in the day. So what they did was they stripped a wire, they ran it through, put it through that little eyelet, and just a dab of solder. So that coil actually is still good until we get done doing what we're doing. We're not using that style coil, if the new one fits. So here's a cool tool set right here. This is from AutoZone. This is a cheap kit, but it works good. You can see it's got all the metric and all the standard, deep and shallow, and they're all color coded. So you can see like they're all the blue is a standard, all the reds are metric. This thing should be 1/4 inch. Yep, it is. And we'll see if we can get those off. Hopefully we don't have a problem with that. There's one. Two. Three. And of course, 4. All right. Now we're going to have to make a plate or a spacer for this governor here, because this governor is not whatchamacallit there. It needs to be used. I also noticed that this thing has 2 intake gaskets, so we're going to have to take and only use one. Okay. Ugh. Wow. Got some spider nest and the aluminum plate. And then we'll take that wire off the ground, and then we'll see if we can mount our new coil, if it'll fit up to that whole shenanigans. Now this wire right here runs down in back of the flywheel. This piece right here, this big mass right here, this big thing right here, this big mass and the points are in back of it. We're not using points, and we're not using this old style coil. Okay. This side out, it's going to face like that, and hopefully it mounts up. Hopefully. It may not mount up, but we're going to find out what we have to do to make it mount up. Alright, so I got the coil on there. I have to put a couple of spaces on the back side of it, but I gapped it here just to try it out, and we'll see if it gets spark. I just want to see, this test right here is just to see if the coil is actually going to fire with this flywheel. So if it does, tomorrow I'll put some spaces in back of it, move it out just a smidgen, and then we'll be good to go. So let's see if we get spark on this bad boy. Wouldn't that be cool if it worked? Wouldn't that be cool? So we have the wrapping the cord around right now. Let's see if we get spark. I don't know if you saw that or not. Like this. Okay. I might have the air gap too far out. Okay. Ready? I'm gonna grab this thing from. Okay. No, I don't see no spark. Do you guys? Don't see no spark. Okay, hold on a second. We need to get spark. You see how close is Oh yeah, one side is way off. Hold on. 1 second. Let's see. Nope. The magnet ain't good? Yep, magnet's good on that one. And that one. Still no spark. Might have a bad CDI too, man. Bad coil. I pulled this coil off of a junk push mower. So that could be my problem as well. Alright, hold on. Oh, no spark. Try one more time. See if I can find a better place to hold it. Oh, there was a spark. Did you guys see that little spark? There was one spark. Hold on. Perhaps I'm pulling too slowly here. It's kind of hard to see. I saw one spark out of it. Yep. All right. So I gotta fix the coil mount and get this thing grounded properly. I'm getting an intermittent spark, but I think it's because this is not grounded properly on the plate. Show you. Right there, see the gap? What's it right here? Right there. So I gotta build the spaces. I'll do that and get that set up tomorrow. But we have slight compression. I think this thing's gonna run. I think it's gonna run. I think it's gonna be a runner. So, and we gotta get rid of one of these gaskets. So I cleaned the carburetor today as well. Got that all situated. You can move the choke. Did that today at work. Put it in the parts cleaner. Let it soak. It all came out nice. So pretty happy with that. And that's pretty much it for tonight, guys. So tomorrow we'll get back on it. So thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe. If you guys have any questions or any comments, by all means, please send them my way. Thank you.